This case takes place in the USA on the 10th of September 2025. Conservative activist Charlie Kirk was shot and killed on Wednesday the 10th of September 2025 during a speaking event at Utah Valley University. The university confirmed that at around 12:10 p.m. local time, a single gunshot was fired at Kirk, striking him in the neck, after which he was evacuated by his security team. The footage is beyond disturbing, and I wouldn't recommend anyone watching the close-up version. He was rushed to a nearby hospital in critical condition, and was pronounced dead shortly thereafter. However, in the moments after the shooting, onlookers at the event began running for cover immediately. Many in the crowd initially thought that the loud crack might have been a prank, such as a burst of confetti. That was until they saw Kirk bleeding profusely from his neck. Chaos ensued as the attendees, which roughly 3,000 people were present at the event, fled or ducked for safety while Kirk's security detail rushed him away. However, there was one person in the crowd. Upon the shot firing out, this onlooker seemingly celebrates instantly. Stranger yet, he seems to turn to the direction of where the shot comes from, raising his arms and cheering for what has just happened. He likely saw Kirk fall to the ground and knew that the situation was serious. This has led some to speculate, why did he not duck like everyone else? For all he knew, this could have been a mass shooter event, yet he was the only one who didn't seem to be scared. Nothing has been confirmed yet, but people are calling for this person to be questioned at least, as some think that he possibly had insider knowledge about the killing. But take this with a massive pinch of salt. Thankfully, no other individuals were shot or injured at the time of the killing. Law enforcement quickly characterized the shooting as a targeted attack and launched a large-scale manhunt for the perpetrator. Investigators believe the assailant arrived on campus at around 11:52 a.m. and made his way to the roof of a campus building overlooking the event. He then fired a shot at Kirk from his elevated position, hitting him in the neck, and then he fled by jumping off the opposite side of the building and escaping into a nearby neighborhood. Security camera footage has captured the suspect, whom investigators described as a college-age male wearing dark clothing and appeared to blend in with students on the campus. The FBI have released an image of this person of interest and have said, "We are asking for the public's help identifying this person of interest in connection with the fatal shooting of Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University." Investigators are emphasizing that only one shooter is believed to have been involved and that there's no evidence to suggest another conspirator. Authorities have confirmed the recovery of critical evidence. A high-powered bolt-action rifle, believed to be the murder weapon, was recovered in a wooded area near the campus along the path where the shooter fled. Investigators at the scene also collected a footwear impression, a palm print, and a forearm imprint, which have been collected for forensic analysis. The FBI have told the press that their laboratory is analysing the rifle along with other evidence, and that they are working around the clock. As of right now, over 130 tips from the public have already been received, and they are continuing to pour in. Lead investigators have said, quote, "We will relentlessly pursue this case until the shooter is found." Videos soon began being shared online. Footage has also emerged of what appears to be the shooter on the roof. Now, there were initial reports of a suspect in custody, but these turned out to be somewhat premature. Right after the shooting, police detained 2 individuals on campus as persons of interest, but they were soon released after investigation. Videos shared online showed an elderly white-haired man being apprehended by officers in the aftermath of the shooting. In one widely shared clip, police and men in plain clothes hold the man's arms and escort him away. At one point, the man's pants fall down around his ankles as he's being led away, exposing his underwear. In further footage, the detained man can be heard repeatedly shouting, "Shoot me, shoot me." According to one eyewitness, they had him on his knees. He was screaming about his rights. They cuffed him anyway and put him away. At one point in the video, a responding officer is heard saying, "He said he shot him, but I don't know." This suggests that the man might have actually claimed responsibility, or there was some miscommunication. This dramatic scene led many onlookers to assume that the elderly man in custody was the shooter. But within hours, authorities clarified that the elderly man in the video was not the assassin. He was identified as 71-year-old George Zinn. Zinn is a local Utah resident well known to law enforcement as a frequent provocateur at political events. Many people immediately recognized him from the images as the provocative activist who always turns up at rallies, protests, and causes issues. He has had a long history of disruptive behaviour and prior arrests, including trespassing, a bomb threat case in 2013, and other protest-related disturbances going back decades. Officials have described Zinn as eccentric, but largely a lone actor. However, some people are curious. They believe that he provided the perfect escape for the killer by making a scene and drawing attention to him, and they remain skeptical about his true intentions. However, George Zinn was not simply let go without any consequences. The police booked him on a charge of obstruction of justice. The exact nature of his charge hasn't been fully detailed by the police, but it's likely him causing a distraction during an active shooter emergency. News outlets then identified a second person of interest, not a suspect. This was Zachariah Qureshi, a man in his 20s who was on campus during the event. In the moments after the shooting, the police were working with very little information. Witnesses were pointing out suspicious people, and officers detained anyone who matched a vague description. Zachariah was reportedly acting nervously near the perimeter of the event. He was questioned and he was cleared of any involvement, and he was never a suspect, just a person of interest, which is a very different thing. It's important to state clearly that the Utah authorities have said there are no current ties to the shooting with either of these individuals. As of the latest official update, the primary suspect remains at large, and a multi-agency manhunt is going on with state, local, and federal law enforcement, including the FBI and ATF agents. As I mentioned, investigators have, quote, good security video footage of the shooter, and they are using advanced techniques to try to identify him. The FBI are asking for anyone with information to come forward. The exact motive of the shooting remains unclear and unconfirmed. However, cartridges used in the attack have been found, and there are some anti-fascist wordings inscribed onto them, providing evidence that this was politically motivated. Reactions online to the killing have been mixed to say the least. Some have shared posts calling Charlie Kirk a good Christian family man and a man who stood up for what he believed in. Some other people find Charlie to be a very divisive figure due to his stances on Israel and reproductive rights, along with comments he has made about trans people and other groups. And for that, many have said that he is deserving of what happened to him, and some have even celebrated, finding his death to be ironic as he was a firm defender of the right to bear arms. Some people are also drawing lists of other political commentators to be targeted. However, regardless of your feelings towards Charlie Kirk, what is heartbreaking is that his wife and kids were in attendance, and no one deserves to see their father killed in such a way. And tragically now, that little girl won't get the luxury of giving her dad a hug ever again.